My name's Kevin House, Lieutenant with the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, and kind of the whole purpose for this segment is to give an overview of the Citizens Academy as far as the Sheriff's Department. But before we do that, to go back with a little bit of history, first of all, personally about myself, I've actually been in El Dorado County since 1960, and my family, I'm actually the third generation here in El Dorado County, so I've got a lot of ties to the community and a lot of the people that are in El Dorado County. And many years ago, back in 1982, I literally woke up one morning and had this inspiration to get involved in law enforcement. And I pursued that and was successful getting into the Sacramento Sheriff's Academy and graduated from the academy. The first job I actually tested for was El Dorado County, because it was always my intention to come to El Dorado to have a career. And I was fortunate enough to be hired on the first go-round, and I started working in December of '82. I got hired on, and I actually started working up in the jail up in Lake Tahoe and worked there for almost 2 years, and transferred to Placerville Patrol. Just kind of went through the ranks. After about 7 years of that, I actually went into Detective Division for 5 years. And while I was in the Detective Division, this is when I actually had the opportunity to explore the concept of the Citizens Academy. I was in a class pursuing my degree, and one of the courses that was given had to do with public relations and law enforcement, and I found it really fascinating. So I took that information and I contacted some agencies that actually already had the Citizens Academy in place, and asked them to send me their curriculum, send me any information that may be valuable. I reached out to Orlando, Florida, and also to Mesa, Arizona, and they sent me packets of information, and I just took it and I modified it for our department here as far as what we have and what we don't have. They had, airport patrols and those kinds of things, and obviously we didn't have a need for that. So basically, just put the concept together and reached out to some of our employees that specialized in some of the particular areas, and put the whole course together and talked with then Sheriff Don McDonald, and he gave the approval. And so we brought the Citizens Academy on board, and we've modified it a lot throughout the years, but basically the concept of the whole program is just to give citizens in the communities the opportunity to experience law enforcement, specifically to El Dorado County, kind of a behind-the-scenes look. And we have lots of demonstrations, lots of experts to come in and talk about what they do and the disciplines that they have. And it's just been a very successful program, and we're to the point now where it's literally first come, first serve, and we usually have the class filled up before we even advertise it. We've actually got a waiting list of about 30 to 40 people waiting to take the class, and it's just been very, very popular, and it's just been a heck of a lot of fun to put on. And so with that in mind, as far as the Citizens Academy is concerned, the way that the whole thing is developed is it's kind of a progression. The first night, we just have people, it's just an introduction night, and we just have people show up, and we kind of just bring them on board and make them feel comfortable and give them an overview as far as what to expect for the course. And it goes through a progression, and we have a tour of the jail, we have a tour of Central Dispatch Center, and we also provide each student in the class an opportunity to do a ride-along with the deputies out in the field. They'll actually come in and sign up for one of the shifts, and they'll actually ride with the deputy in the field anywhere from 4 to 10 or 12 hours, depending on how active the shift is, and it's been very popular. But the progression is we have patrol procedures, and then we have investigations, we have CSI, crime scene investigations, we have narcotics, we have a block on gangs, and we have a number of different courses. We do, used to do an interrogation block. Now we have computer crimes, fraudulent, computer theft, identity theft, those kinds of things. We have a course that we put on for that now. We have a very large search and rescue contingent that comes and puts on their demonstration as well. And so it goes through this progression, and the idea is one class basically leads up to the next class. And so by the time you're finished with the class after 13 weeks, the final week, since you've learned enough about laws of arrest and search and seizure and patrol procedures and those kinds of things, the final class that we do is actually vehicle stops. And in the vehicle stops, as you'll see in some of the scenarios here, the vehicle stops are actually designed, they're kind of incident driven, and the bottom line is just to give the students the opportunity to kind of see and feel what it feels like to actually be that officer making the stop, knowing that this is all make-believe, and it's in a very controlled environment and the whole works. But we start at very low key, and then we get up into some more complicated scenarios that we have. But the bottom line is it's just a real eye-opener, and usually about 90% of the people that get done, they say that it was really invigorating and they really had a good time doing the vehicle stops, but they don't ever want to have to do them again. And thank you very much for the officers that use their talents and abilities out there in the field and do those things on a daily basis. And it's just an experience that most people never have the opportunity to have. And so we invite people to sign up for the Citizens Academy and get an idea of what happens in El Dorado County behind the scenes. Another benefit of the Citizens Academy is to give those of us in law enforcement the opportunity to interact with people in communities as well. We'll take on some of the situations and some of the hardships that may be occurring out in the communities and have the opportunity to actually dialogue with some people and see if we can address some issues, some community issues that are going on out there. So it's really a way of reaching out to the public and just giving as many people as possible the opportunity to fully understand what really happens behind the scenes in law enforcement, and not necessarily what you see on TV. Most people's experience with law enforcement is they either received a ticket at some point in their life, or maybe they were the victim of a crime or a witness or something like that. But for the most part, most people don't have that much interaction with law enforcement, and sometimes their vision as far as what takes place might be a little bit skewed by what you see on TV. And so we just provide the opportunity for people to just come and experience that and see it and realize how professional these officers are and what an awesome responsibility we really do have in law enforcement to protect the community. Well, basically the scenarios are set up. They're a progression as well. The earlier stops, they're pretty simple. There's no such thing as a routine stop, but so it's what we can call low key. But some of the stops and some of the scenarios that we have are, there may be a gun sitting on a dashboard or sitting on a seat, and what tends to happen is we tend to just get tunnel vision. And so oftentimes what happens is once that participant goes up to that door, their vision just really gets narrowed down. They're not really conscious of what's happening around them. And so we try to give them the opportunity, we try to explain to them to make sure and keep their focus wide to scan the entire scene and not just maybe one particular area. Oftentimes they just concentrate on maybe the person's face, they're not watching their hands, they're not seeing other threats that may be in a car. So the way that the scenarios are set up is we actually tell the role players, who are also deputy sheriffs, we will tell them that just do the scenario based on what that person's response is. If they find the gun there, then just go ahead and comply with their commands as far as what to do, get out of the car and all that. If they don't find it, eventually what will end up happening is they'll just take it and they'll shoot them. And of course, obviously, everything is play. We just use rubber guns out there and stuff, so there's nothing that's going to happen individually. But so it's those kinds of things, and we have guns in different places of the car, and we'll also have people in different places of the car, and we just want to see if their vision is opening up enough to actually see if someone's lying in the back seat or if someone's asleep in the front seat or watching the driver's hands and those kinds of things. And there's just a lot of real basics to be learned from there. And we usually end up having probably at least a quarter to a half of the class dead, if you will, that we're not able to to sort through the situation. And the bottom line is these are civilians that are out there. These are people that work, in the grocery stores and the post office and things like that, and they don't do these kinds of things on a regular basis. So we fully understand that, and that's how most of them work. We have some scenarios, we'll have someone lying in the back seat with a gun. And it's amazing how many people won't even see that person there, let alone the gun that's trained on them for the entire time. So it's a real eye-opener for a lot of people. We get a lot of good positive response out of it, and we just get a lot of compliments, if you will, just from people saying, "Thank you very much for the job that you guys do out there, you guys and gals do out there," because there's no way that that those particular participants would feel safe. And another thing we've gotten out of the class also, every once in a while we'll get someone younger, maybe 18, 19, 20 years old, to be in the class. And oftentimes, some people will come into our class because they're considering the possibility of a career in law enforcement, or even corrections for that matter. And many times after going through this and they're successful and they realize that it's something that they actually really like a lot, even though they realize there's a heck of a lot they're going to have to learn, we've had people come out of our class before and actually go on to very successful careers in law enforcement. I actually started this class back in 1994, and we've done 32 classes, and there's usually about 30 students in each class. And about 5 years ago, I had reached out to the rest of the administration and the Sheriff's Department and said I'd like to bring someone on board to start helping maybe assist me in facilitating this class. We put out, we flew the position and had some people apply for it. We selected Detective Jeff Lykoff, who was in some of these scenes as well. Jeff has taken over the academy for me. We kind of phased him in over the last couple of years. He's doing an outstanding job. He just has a real passion to train and to interact with people. And basically, he has the same passion that I had way back when I started the course, and he's very enthusiastic about it. And so he has taken that on. So Jeff is now the facilitator for the El Dorado County Sheriff's Citizens Law Enforcement Academy. And in order to get a hold of Jeff, if someone wants to fill out an application and apply for the Citizens Academy, they should contact Detective Lykoff at 530-642-4720, and that's right to his desk, and you can either leave him a message or he'll answer personally and put you on a waiting list for upcoming classes. I guess in summary or in conclusion here, after having gone through all that, I have enjoyed nearly every moment of nearly 28 years working for the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office. I was actually hired on by Sheriff Dick Pacilio back in 1982, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the career. And you get to a point where you realize that it's okay to go ahead and step aside and let some of the other people take over some of your duties and responsibilities. And I get to that point to realize we have a lot of talented individuals around the Sheriff's Office. And I came to a point where I realized it was time for me to go ahead and start reaping, if you will, the opportunity to be able to relax after 28 years. And so I'll just be doing some traveling and some volunteer work around the community, and I have some other projects. I restore cars. I restore classic Mustang cars, and I take them to car shows, and that's a lot of fun for me, and that takes up some of my time. And eventually I will probably get back into some sort of work environment, but at this particular point I'm not even going to take that on for probably at least 6 months or so. And once I have the opportunity to travel and experience some of the things that I've missed out on, throughout these years. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with my family, with my kids and my grandkids, and just doing some good, fun things with them, and just looking forward to a successful retirement. I would like to take the opportunity, and oftentimes I'll speak at organizations and community events and things like that, and I try to encourage the people in the community to get involved in their communities, get involved in some of the things that are going on. It's amazing to me how when I was working the streets, it was amazing to me how many times I would respond to a call and I would ask a person if they've had the opportunity to meet their neighbors, and they said no, they've never taken the time to actually go over and talk to their neighbors, rather than calling in to file a complaint or something. If you just go talk to them, maybe they don't understand what the situation is. So it's amazing to me how many people really don't take the time to get to know your neighbors, and I'd like to encourage everyone to take the time and do that. There's lots of events that takes place. There's lots of community involvement opportunities out there, and get involved and know the people and become accessible, and it just makes it a whole lot of fun, especially in a rural county like this where there's just so many events going on, and I just like to encourage people to get involved. I'm former Lieutenant Kevin House, and it's your channel too.